Guys, Marsenkin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so I know, with all the excitement going on JP about the build up to the anniversary, the teaser trailer, everyone's speculating about what that could be. None of that is important because, of course, global players, we are all waiting for the super ultimate mega hype that is the AGL LR Omega Shenron release, right? Right, guys? But, I mean, in all honesty, I have had a few people ask me when he is going to be coming out for Global because, of course, the schedule is very different compared to the previous year, and it's been quite some time coming, right, that we've been waiting for this guy's release on Global. I know a lot of people are not even necessarily waiting for the unit himself, but are waiting for the things that come along with him, right? Because he is a Carnival LR, so he has a 200% lead. He leads GT Bosses. Sadly, GT Bosses is still a terrible team, even with this Omega on it. Because he's pretty decent, right? He raises defense on his 12 key super with a chance to stun. He greatly raises defense on his 18 key super, which can also lower attack and seal. So he's got some like good super attack effects. He has an entrance animation. He's an orb changer, creates rainbow orbs. He passively debuffs the enemy, which is good for some events still. And then he's got pretty solid stats. He builds up as he attacks. He gets damage reduction and extra key per GT boss's ally on the team. Then he gets additional damage reduction by picking up the rainbow orbs. If your HP is 50% or less at the start of your turn, he has a revival. If someone gets KO'd, right? It's the good revival where it can be anyone on the rotation. He gets attacks effective against all types and gets a guaranteed additional super after he's revived. But it does seem to be, unfortunately, even though he came out after 23rd World Tournament Goku, he has the like previous version of this kind of passive where he has to be the one that revives, which means even if you run, like if you're actually running his team and running double Omega, only one of them can actually revive and then get this buff. Now, fortunately, unlike 23rd World Tournament Goku, it's not like he becomes very difficult to run or like very difficult to survive, or just RNG related, I guess, with the guard for Goku, right? Because it's giving you effective against all types and an extra super, which is very good, but it's not like you're gonna get absolutely blown away in the later stages of events if you haven't had the Omega revive yet. So his passive is definitely solid. He has an active skill, greatly raises attack temporarily, ultimate damage, lowers attack and defense, and disables an enemy action, which can be used from turn 3 if the enemy is in attack down or defense down, or from turn 6. So, I mean, in some events, if you can even get, like, some of the shorter of difficult events now, like the Dismal Future Red Zone, if you're getting to the final phase by the 3rd turn, you can't attack or defense down the enemy anyway. So, unfortunately, in the more relevant content, you're not going to see this until turn 6, which you might not even get to, although I suppose with GT bosses, you will, because the team is terrible. Well, will you get to turn 6 or will you be dead by then? Who knows? So Omega himself on paper, good unit, but you know, terrible. He's got to be on GT bosses to get this extra damage reduction, right? So if he's just on a team by himself, maybe with like a Sin Shenron for Lynx, he's going to have 10% damage reduction and then the 7% per rainbow orb. You could probably get away with that against some bosses, especially if they are STR, but yeah, he's obviously at his full power on a GT Bosses team, so it is what it is. So, he came out on JP on the 20th of July. This is, there's a couple of things that came out with him that are the main thing that I think people are excited for. Like, a lot of people don't even necessarily care about the release of the LR Omega Shenron himself, they just want all the stuff that comes out with him, right? One of those things is a burst mode for the Shadow Dragon stage. I mean, I'm sure not many people are super crazy about this, but burst mode, always kind of fun, gives you some extra stones and that, so I'll be looking forward to that. The new stage to the Shadow Dragon event, this is the main thing that we're all looking forward to. I'll bring up the details for that as well here in a moment. And then, of course, there's an Extreme Z battle for this STR Dragon Fist based GT Goku, and then the GT Frieza and GT Cell. And then, of course, the baby EZA, which actually released, it was like 5 days later. So I'm assuming they're still going to follow that same kind of time frame when Omega drops. But depending when he drops, of course, they could always just drop this at the same time as well. Depends what else they'll be planning out for the rest of that time slot where Omega does release on Global. So this was Omega Shenron's banner. Like many Carnival LRs, or just Yellow Coin LRs as well, his banner is not particularly good. He's on there, STR Carnival Goku's on there, and then the other featured LR, because these banners usually are 3 featured LRs, is the AGL Future Gohan and Trunks. These guys are just outdated at this point until they get their EZA. I did a re-showcase for STR Carnival Goku just before Christmas, because it was about a year since he'd come out on JP, and he's starting to get a bit outdated in some of these events now as well. We've got the Ice and Nova side banner unit that most people didn't even like them when they came out during the anniversary. The physical Nova Shenron's terrible. Tech Sin is still kind of runnable, like on GT bosses I guess he's one of the better options, but that's not saying much considering the team. The old physical Sin, and then of course the GT Frieza and Cell are on here. Useful if you don't have them, right, for their upcoming EZA. And then Celza is on here, the Fusions unit, very strange. So the banner is awful. Another reason why people probably shouldn't be too excited to summon for this guy, because even if you do like him as a unit, even if you want to try and like soldier through some of the difficult events with GT bosses, his banner is really not very good. So obviously we'll do a video in more detail about this you know, when we know when it's exactly going to drop. There are some changes I think that we could potentially see, but we'll cover that in a different video. So the Shadow Dragons burst mode, I believe actually if we look on, where's the details for here, it's I think it's the stage, it's not actually the final stage, which is like the physical Omega one, is it? Or the, no, it is this one, the Countdown to the Crash one, I think, right? Because the STR one is the old art, yeah, it's that one, right? Yeah, so Countdown to the Crash, it'll be stage 2. So it's the physical Omega, AGL, STR, and then physical. And the burst mode missions, Majin Buu Saga team and a Mastered Evolution team. So as always, of course, I will do videos using both of these teams, getting the full 6,000 points. I do enjoy burst mode. I think it's a cool little addition. So kind of looking forward to that coming out as a little something extra to do as well. But of course, the big thing, as already said, is the new stage for the Birth of the Shadow Dragons event, which is the Stage 8 Omega Shenron. He's basically built exactly like Sin, right? Where you have the 3 stages, starts doing AoEs in the second stage, and then the big bad final stage, right, is where he really starts to go crazy. The difference, of course, very different typings. Tech to start, then STR, then Int, which I realise now when you look at it, they're like the opposite like typings, right? So every phase of Sin is the typing that would be like type advantage over the phase of Omega. So of course, completely different team building. The final phase is Int. This is one of the events where we'll see units like the Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Goku come back to prominence, because of course this came out on JP before the worldwide celebration, and Goku had come out just before this. Goku just dominates this event, right, because he's already tech, so his issue of having to take some hits in his first turn to build up doesn't really matter, because the first phase doesn't hit super hard and he has type advantage over it. So should be quite interesting to see how this goes. Of course, with the second stage being STR and doing AoEs, you can't just load up on physical units to fight the Int Omega. So this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this coming out. We'll try out a bunch of different units in here, so you guys can let me know once we've dropped the first couple of videos in those comment sections and in the Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. Let me know any units that you guys want to see go up against Omega, and we'll be playing this quite a bit, and it becomes, I guess, one of the new showcase stages, right, where as new units come out, we'll take them against Omega to see their performance. So the whole point is, when is this going to come out? So if we take a look at last year, we can see as we went into January, we'd already just come off of the shared Superheroes New Year celebration, where both versions got Gohan and Piccolo. And as we moved into January, because we just had a dual Dokkan Fest, there obviously was no new unit release. We got the EZAs for the Broly and Gogeta. Global got the EZAs for the blue Vegetas that we'd been missing from the Resurrection of F Blue celebration. We all got the free-to-play Superhero Gohan EZA. And then we got LR Golden Frieza release on the 16th of January. So 16th of January last year was when they released the LR, because just like Omega, this is an LR that was like displaced from a different part of another celebration because of the weird way that global schedule works, right? So that was the 16th of January. Now, if we go back to the previous year, we've talked about this in some other videos, but this is the timeline that looks more like where we are now, because we did not share the New Year's Jewel Dokkan Fest with JP this year, and we did not share the New Year's Jewel Dokkan Fest here, the one that came out at the very end of 2021. So looking at this timeline, we moved into the 3rd of January and we got the STR Super Vegeta, and of course Super Trunks came out on Global on the 3rd of January. So we are basically following along with this timeline, right? So 3rd of January, we moved into the 10th, we got a Peppy Gals banner. We're not missing out on any units of these or anything, so we won't be getting anything like this. We've got nothing in the news about anything happening on the 10th outside of the upcoming EZA. So actually that is this time slot here, right? The Extreme Z battle for the Peppy Gals. This is the Extreme Z battle for the physical transforming Vegeta. And then we get down to the 17th of January, and this is where we had LR Janemba released. Now, this is the one that is directly comparable to Omega, because LR Janemba is the Part 2 LR from the Tanabata of 2021. The main unit was Tech Gogeta. And if we take a look back, we can see the timeline. This is the timeline that matches up to this year for Global. Because if we go back to November 2021, Tech Gogeta, the Tanabata LR from JP, released at the beginning of November. And when did LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku release on Global? That's right, the beginning of November. So we are basically following the 21 to 2022 kind of timeline, right? So this is where I'm expecting Omega to drop, the 17th of January. If we take a look at the calendar, the 17th is a Wednesday, which of course is a week after the stuff that's dropping on Wednesday. Trunks came out on Wednesday the 3rd. The EZA for Physical Vegeta comes out on Wednesday the 10th, I think, as well as one of the new support memory boosts. And then 1 week later would be the 17th. So Wednesday the 17th is where I would expect to see Omega Shenron drop. Because if we take a look at the global news over here, this is again all we know coming up for the future. Here we are right now. We just had the all new Dokkan Ultimate Clash, aka Battlefield, reset yesterday on Friday. Then as you can see here, the news about the EZA for Physical Transforming Vegeta, that's coming out on the 10th. We have a new stage to farm Android / Cell Saga orbs as well, and then the support memory, one of the support memories is getting the update. And then it mentions the beginning of the next week, Monday the 15th, is when we're going to start getting the weekend tickets again, and the ticket banner will be up that weekend, which is Saturday the 20th. But in terms of new content, we have a mention of the new chain battle that's coming out on Monday the 15th. Obviously one of the last chain battles. Global has, what, 3 or 4 left to go before we get to the final one. But that's it, right? So Monday the 15th, this is where any news of any new content stops. So that takes us to the midway point of January, but doesn't indicate anything that's coming out after that. So that would make sense that on Monday the 15th, this comes out, right? We get the chain battle, we start getting our weekend tickets, and then potentially on like Tuesday night is when we then get the in-game news that we're starting part 2 of this celebration, or even if they give it a different name or something, who knows. And then we should see all the details for Omega, the potential release of the baby EZA after that and everything. So all signs point towards Wednesday the 17th being the release date for Carnival Omega. So of course today being the 6th, that's still 11 days away. But yeah, we'll obviously keep you guys updated with any news as it comes in. If there are any teasers or any data downloads or anything that come early that confirm any of these dates, I of course will let you know via news videos. But yeah, the 17th, which will be a Wednesday, I guess for if you're in the US time zone, it could potentially be very late on the Tuesday evening, but this is where I am expecting this to come out. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you actually excited for Omega? Will you be summoning for him? Do you just care about the Omega stage and the other stuff that's coming out? I know the baby EZA is pretty good, although that may be, as we said, a couple of days later. But let me know what you guys think. Will you be summoning? And yeah, I'll do a separate video about the banner. I think there's a big change we could see to his banner for Global based on recent events and stuff upcoming. So I'll make a separate video about that and talk about that in more detail. But let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.